and it cuts his soul. They say rich baby daddy, it's like Drake has a rich baby daddy named Lucian and Universal.
Wow.
He's like, like, man, my daddy got it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, my daddy controlled the spins. My daddy got the DSPs. My daddy, Drake has a rich baby daddy.
Music because of the whole Kendrick thing, and he wanted to switch things up. He wanted to get back on track, but now I realize that he will never not be able to drop music. If they gave him $400 million, if they gave him $600 million, whatever the amount is, they're going to make all that money back and more, which means he's probably going to be on tour again. The man's going to have to continue to drop for the next 10 years. You know what I'm saying? 5 to 10 years to recoup that money. These labels do not play. I don't know why Drake didn't just go independent after all, you know what I'm saying? Instead of signing an actual deal, because he would be much more free. He'd be able to do stuff like this all the time. But you see, as soon as an artist, even an artist as big as Drake, as soon as they step out of line, the labels come back and be like, no, don't even try that.
So, let's dive into the latest drama swirling around Drake and Universal Music Group, UMG. It seems like every time Drake tries to make a move, UMG is right there pulling the strings. If you've been paying attention, it's pretty clear that despite Drake's superstar status, he doesn't have the control over his music that you'd expect. It's a story we've seen before with other artists, but the way things are playing out with Drake has fans really starting to question if he's in over his head. And then there's Kendrick Lamar doing the complete opposite, removing his copyrights so others can actually use his music. Talk about a power move. We'll break it all down for you. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, what's really going on here? Let's break it down. Recently, Drake found himself in some hot water with his own label, UMG, after dropping a batch of unreleased tracks as part of a 100 gigs data dump. It was supposed to be a big moment, but instead, UMG hit him with a copyright strike, pulling the plug on those unreleased collabs with 21 Savage and others. But here's the kicker. The label taking down his music is actually his own. Let that sink in. Drake is signed to UMG under a massive 360 deal, which, for those who don't know, is basically a full takeover of an artist's career. So no matter how big Drake is when it comes to his music, UMG runs the show. And now, rumors are flying that there's major tension between Drake and UMG behind the scenes. Word is, Drake isn't happy with how things are being handled, but he's stuck. That massive 360 deal he signed back in 2021 pretty much gives UMG control over everything from his albums to his merch and tours. Fans are saying this is exactly why Drake's been acting off lately. He's been spiraling because despite all the success and money, he doesn't own a single note of his music. Anytime he wants to release something new, it has to be approved by UMG. And let's be real, that's gotta be frustrating. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar is out here playing chess, not checkers. While Drake is tangled up in a contract he can't break free from, Kendrick has done the unthinkable. He's removed his own copyrights, making his music available for others to use and benefit from. That's a bold move, and one that's got fans talking. Kendrick's decision is being seen as an act of rebellion against the industry, while Drake's situation is starting to look more and more like a cautionary tale of what happens when you sign away too much. So, what's the deal with 360 contracts? For those who don't know, a 360 deal is like a contract where the label controls almost every aspect of an artist's career. They back the artist with promotion, marketing, and financial support, but in return, the artist gives up a slice of every revenue stream: streaming, concerts, merch, you name it. Basically, if Drake breathes, UMG wants a piece of it. That's why fans are saying he's trapped, or as some call it, a 400 million slave. Yeah, the money might sound good at first, but artists end up losing a lot of their freedom and creative control. It's a trade-off that has left many, including Drake, stuck playing by the label's rules. And fans aren't holding back their opinions either. One person tweeted, "Drake should have gone independent when he had the chance. He's too big to be letting a label control him like this." While another fan said, "This is karma. Drake's been all about the money for years, and now look where it got him." It's hard to argue with that point when you see how things are playing out. But this brings us to Kendrick Lamar, who's doing something entirely different. While Drake is tangled in his 360 deal, Kendrick's out here making sure his music stays accessible to the people. He's removed the copyright restrictions, letting fans and creators use his songs without fear of being hit with legal troubles. It's a clear statement that Kendrick's more focused on the culture and supporting other artists than stacking up billions. So is Kendrick throwing shade at Drake? And if you've been keeping up with Kendrick Lamar's recent music, you'll notice he hasn't been shy about calling out Drake. His diss tracks have been filled with not-so-subtle digs at Drake's situation, and it seems like Kendrick's got a lot more to say about the industry. In one of his more recent tracks, Kendrick even hints at some darker stuff happening behind the scenes, possibly linking Drake and his label to some shady business. Kendrick doesn't just rap for the sake of it. When he's throwing shots, there's usually something deeper going on, and fans fans are starting to wonder if there's more to this feud than meets the eye. Now, fans are asking the real question: why didn't Drake go independent? At one point, he had the chance to break free from the label system entirely and keep everything for himself, but instead, he signed that jaw-dropping $400 to $500 million deal with UMG. And now, every time he wants to drop new music, he's got to get their approval. It's frustrating to see an artist of his caliber trapped like this, but it's not just about money or control. It's also about reputation. Drake's entire brand has been built on being the biggest name in the game, the guy who can do whatever he wants. But now we're seeing cracks in that image, and Kendrick Lamar is out here making sure those cracks don't go unnoticed. When Kendrick took shots at Drake for being too cozy with the industry, it was more than just rap beef. It was about calling out an entire system that's been exploiting artists for years, and it doesn't stop there. Kendrick's also dropped hints about some much darker stuff happening behind the scenes. He's been calling out certain industry figures for shady dealings, and some fans think he's even hinting at UMG's CEOL-UCIANGRAINGE. There's speculation that Grange, who is rumored to have strong ties to Drake's success, might be involved in some pretty controversial business. Kendrick's not one to mince words, and if he's suggesting there's more to the story, you can bet it's got people in the industry sweating. So, what's next for Drake? Drake's recent data dump might have caused waves, but it also highlighted just how tightly UMG has him on a leash. After that copyright strike, fans are starting to see that his situation is more complicated than they thought. Sure, he's one of the biggest stars in the world, but behind the scenes, it seems like he's facing more restrictions than freedom. And with Kendrick continuing to speak out, this situation is far from over. Is Drake going to find a way to break free from his contract and go independent? Or is he going to stay locked in with UMG, dealing with their control over every release? Only time will tell. So, what do you think? Is Drake really stuck in a $400 million deal he can't escape from? And is Kendrick onto something bigger with his shots at the industry? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.